Hello guys, welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to talk about how to handle files in Python. But before that, if you have not seen my previous videos, please go ahead and watch them. The playlist link is in my description section. So basically, before starting with file handling, let me tell you what are files. So file are basically continuous set of bytes which are stored in a specified format. The storage format can be different, like CSV will have a different format, Excel will have a different format, TXT will have a different format, PDF will have a different format. Okay. uh, so let's start with file operation. Let's see how we can first open a file. Okay, so this is a file path. This is the dummy data is a file and user here. This is the file path. So we need both details. So we need the file path along with the file name for opening the file. For opening the file, Python has a function. Let's call this dummy file. Python has an open function. See if you can see open file mode buffering etc. I'll first open file simply, give the file path, and then try to print the dummy file and just run this code for you. As you can see, so when the file has been opened, if the file is not open, it will throw an IO exception. Okay, and this is the file data. Okay, like you have seen, this is a IO wrapper, this is the name of the path, this is the mode. So here we have simply opened this file. By default it will be opened in a read mode. If you want to open it in a write mode, you have to pass W. Here you can see the mode here is changed at right. So let me mention the file modes. R is used for reading, W is used for writing, and RB is used for reading binary files. Similarly, WB is used for writing binary files. Okay, this is how the files are opened. Now I told you, if you want to open this in a read mode, when you open the file in a read mode, you can only read the file, you cannot write the file. Okay, so and the write mode allows you to both read and write the files. Okay, let's move forward and see how you can read the contents of the file. So here we have opened the file, but there are three methods to read the files. Reading files. Okay, the first is file name dot read. The read will by default print all the contents of the file. Let's try to run that. Okay, sorry, I opened it in a write mode. Let's run that again. Hmm. It seems that the content is not there. Let me check the file name first. Okay, so as we saw, when we have opened the file in a write mode, it has overwritten the content of the file. So I pasted another content there, and when I executed it, you can see the file contents are printed. Okay, so this is the way of reading all the files. Okay, let's see, you want to print a single line of a file, not the entire one. So for that we have a function dot read line. Read line will print the line of the file. So but read line goes iteratively, like from the top to the bottom. So if you want to read more lines, you have to hit it again and again. Okay, and then comes the read lines file, which will again read that all the lines. Let's hit that. So the difference between read lines and the read method is that the read lines return the file contents as a list. So you can directly cast it to a list if you want to do some operations on that, because we know that list operations in Python are very sophisticated. Okay, so this is all about reading the files. Let me paste it in the description section first. Okay, now let's see how we can write contents to the same file. For that, we'll open the file in the W mode, which is the write mode, and then we will try to write. There are two methods, write and write lines. So write lines will basically write the lines, and write will normally write the contents. Okay, try to use that. Let's try to use the write first. Hello. But for closing the write operations, I mean for committing into the file, you need to close the file. If you do not close it, the contents will not be written on the file. Okay, since that file is closed, we have to open the file again in a reading mode. Okay, or reading the contents now, which we have written. Okay, let's run that. Oh, sorry, read file dot read. You can see the contents are printed in as a hello. Okay, so this is how it is. So now let's begin with our last example, which is most commonly used across Python programming. Here I will display how you can iterate through each lines of the file. So as you can see here, I have created a file which will have three contents: hello, hi, and hola. Okay, let's try to iterate that. So we have a file. We will create a reader here. What reader will do? Read file dot read lines. Okay, so what it will do? Reader will have the first line content. Now while reader, you have to compare it. So how will you compare it? You have to compare it against the end of the line. So what is the end of the line? End of the line will have nothing, right? End of the line will be empty, so we will be comparing it against the empty. Okay, what will we do? Let's try to print video. Reader is will be again assigned to read file dot read line. Let's try to run that code. Let's format it and try to run that code. And you can see the contents of the files are printed. Okay, so this is how you can iterate through each line of a file. This is all about Python file handling. If you have liked this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching this video. Hello guys, welcome to my channel. So this is file handling part 2. If you have not seen my part 1, you can watch it using my playlist, or using the you can watch it using the my channel page. Okay, so in the previous tutorial I told about how you can handle files in a Python. Now in this tutorial I am going to teach you about how you can handle the directories in a Python, right? So before moving to that, let's import one important module, which is the OS module. Okay, so let's see how we can get the directories in a file. How we can get the files in a directory. So here is a directory path that I have. Using this directory path, we will be searching with the files and everything. Okay, let's try to do that. Print. We'll be using OS module, os.listdir, and then the directory path. Let's run that. So here you can see it is giving it all the files in a directory. But this was used before Python 3.3. And what is the problem with this module? The problem with this method is list dir is it returns as a list. So if we have to iterate over this list, we have to create another iterator for iterating. Okay, so what happened after the Python 3.3, they have introduced a new method which is we start scan dir. Everything, argument and everything has been kept the same. The direct use of this method is that scan dir returns directly an iterator object. As you can see, when we have tried to print that, it is returning an iterator object. Okay, so using the iterator object, we can for x in iterator object we can print everything. Print x, comment this, run this. You can see all the entries are printed. So we have a list of all the files and directories present inside this folder. Okay, so the previous method was list dir, and this is the latest method which is scan dir. Okay, let's try to find out if the file is if the particular underlying object is a file or a directory. We will be again using the os method there for figuring out. Okay, so for figuring out whether it is a file or directory, let's define a method check type. Okay, which will have path and the file name. So we will be using again the os module os dot path dot this file. This file will take path, file name. Let's return file lif os dot path dot sdir. So fold and close. Something else. Now let's use this check type method. Let's use a string. Thus, I will be concatenating the type here. Check type directory path comma x, and let's run this. Okay, something bad happened. Let me check that. Yeah, actually, here I need to join the path. Similarly here as well, which is my mistake. There you can see the file along with its type have been printed. What is the type of the file? Wherever it is directory, the directory will be printed. So this is how you can figure out whether the underlying object is either a file or a directory. Now let's move to the next action item, creating directories. For creating directories, we can simply use the function os.mkdir. Here we'll give the directory name as well as we have to give two things, right? We have to give the directory name as well as path. So there are two things. Let's do that. media. Yeah. Let's try to run that. Okay, so we should ideally have a directory after this, right? Let's check the type of the directory. Directory path. Use the media. Yeah. For now, I think let's comment that part. Okay, so let's take this media one because the directory is already existing. I'm really bad at this. You can see it has created a directory and now it is returning that yes, it is a directory. It is a directory for you to use that. Okay, let's see the move to the last section where we will be searching file based on the regex. This will be most probably used across Python programming. Okay, so for regex matching, we will be importing another module which will be FN match. So you can also do that using string matching, but FN match is more sophisticated than the normal string matching, normal strings. Okay, uh, let's uncomment this part where we were trying to print the the name along with the type of that. Okay, let's see if in match. See, first of all, we have to identify what type of file do we need to take out. Okay, so let's say we are taking a WM file. Okay, X comma star WEBM, the WebM files that we want to take out here. Okay, sorry, the codes have the problem here. So here we have the WebM file is there. Let's do that if and only if print only if it is matching. Okay, run this out. That please comment that else it will throw an error. As you can see, all the WebM files are printed. So these are all the WebM files which are printed. Similarly, you can search for a TXT file or any other normal star txt star something or specific file name with a while loop or something else, it will work. Okay guys, thank you for watching this video. If you have not seen my previous video tutorial, go ahead and see that, and don't forget to like and subscribe my channel. Thank you. Hey everyone, so this is part 3 of file handling in Python. In part 1, I have told about the files, and in part 2, I have told about how you will manage the directories. Now, in part 3, I'll be teaching you how to deal with the temporary files. So, why do we need temporary files in Python? We need temporary files in Python when we want to write something into a file as an intermediate object, but we do not want to expose that object to the we don't want to store it permanently so that it don't get exposed to the outer world like in the file system. So we that's why we create temp files. Python has a module called as temp file, which creates the temp file, and it also does not stores it into the file system. So in a way it provides the abstraction for storing the files. Okay, let's see how we can create a temp file. Let's name the file as temp file or temp file dot temporary file. So in the first step we are trying to create a temporary file. Let's see what's the details of this temp file. Let's try to open it and run that. So as you can see, this is a buffered random. Let's also print its type to be more clear about the type of this file. You can see, so it's a buffered random file. It's a buffered random object, and the name of the file is 3, which is quite surprising. Okay, because it randomly names the object. So this is a random. So we have a temp file created now. This is how we simply create a temp file. Let's go ahead and try to write something into this temp file. File dot write. Let's try to write hello. Okay, and try to read it as temp file dot read and run it. Okay, so let's give it a byte object. So don't forget to close the temp files. Like all files, the temp file needs to be closed as well. As you can see, the hello is printed. Okay, and seeking is important here, because if you don't seek, the pointer will be at the end of file after writing. So you can, so you will not be getting anything while you are trying to do a read operation. So this is how you do a simple write and read operations on a temporary file. Okay, don't forget to close this file. Also, this file is not stored anywhere, so you need not to worry about the file system structure, size, and any path related things. Okay, so you can also write more than one lines. We have a write lines method available. Where you can pass on a list what you want to write into this file. Okay, simply run that. You can say hello, hi, hey is printed, and if you want to use print that in a separate line, let's use the new line operator. It should do everything for you. Okay, okay, my bad. Since this cannot be red lines, does not take the binary object. Hmm, okay, I'll tell you. So we need to open this file in a read plus write mode. Let's try to run that now. Yeah, as you can see, hello, hi, hey. So like, in normal files, there are different modes. There are similar modes available for temporary files as well. Okay, so this is all about. If you have seen that it does not have the name, like the name is random generated. Okay, let's try to see if you want to create a temp file so that you can identify that with the suffix or with a prefix. Okay, then for that, temp file has a method. Temp file has a method for creating the name temp file, which is name temporary file. Here you can provide the prefix by, and also provide the suffix to creating the name temp file. Okay, let's see what is the name of this temp file. Here you can see this is the prefix and the suffix is added. Let's do it for better clarity. Here you can see this is the name. So this is the path where it will be stored. So it picks the path from the env path, and it creates a temporary file there. Okay, so this is all about temporary files in Python. If you have any questions, you can ask in the comment section. Please do like and subscribe this video. Thank you. Hello guys, so welcome to my fourth tutorial of file handling in Python. If you have not seen the three parts, please go ahead and see this. In this tutorial, I am going to talk about how to deal with the file archives. So when you're doing a Python project where you use the file archives, so file archives are basically used for sending mails with attachments like zip or reading zip attachments that are coming through a file sharing software. So you might have seen that you receive bank statements using a mail that has attached zip file, which is your statement basically. So for using the file archives, there is a module zip file in Python. This is an inbuilt module, so you do not have to specifically call it. Okay, and using the zip file module, we are going to handle the zip files. Okay, let's see how to do that. Let's first try to open a zip file. So I already have a file at this path and with this name. So let's try to open that. Here you have to give the complete path of the file. Along with that, you have to identify what is the mode with which you are trying to open. Let's try to open this file in a read mode. Let new zip. Just try to print the zip along with the type of the zip. Sorry, new zip. So this is the basic implementation. Let's run that code and see. You can see the object returned is of zip file, okay, which has a name, and the mode is readable mode. Okay, the object is of type zip file. So this is how you can read a zip file. So this is just like you have read a file, but we don't know what its contents are. So if you want to see the contents of the file, okay, we have to use a method which is called as namelist. This method returns the files within that zip as a list. You can see all the files returned which are part of this zip file. So in this way you can know what all files are present in a zip file. Okay, this is useful when you want to extract a specific file. Okay, so there are other properties as well. You can see you can print the compression level, you can know the size, size like that. If you want to know the size of a single file, let's see that. Let's see if you want to know the size of this file. So this, you can see the compression level is none, and this is the size. This is the file mode, this is the file size. So basically you can get the details about the specific files as well within the zip without unzipping that package. Okay, this is all about reading the files. Let's see how we can extract the files from there. Okay, so for extracting, there are two methods: extract and extract all. The extract method will be called to extract a single file, while extract all will be called to extract all the files within that directory. Okay, let's follow the same pattern. New zip extract. Let's say we want to extract only this file. Okay, we have already extracted. We want to see whether it is extracted or not. Let's import the OS module and print OS dot scan dir. path. Okay, let's try to run that. If it returns an iterator, let's use the list dir. Here you can see DynamoDB. We have a backup zip, then we have extracted the files as well. Okay, so these files are already present there, and we have extracted one of those files. Okay, so this is all about extracting the files. You can also use extract all. Extract all needs only the path, and it does not need a specific like a specific file name. So if your file is password protected, you can always pass the password. So suppose your email statement is coming with some password, you can pass the password. This password will unlock the password protected zip file. Okay. Now everything is done. Let's see how to create a zip file. So by now we have read about how we can extract data from zip file, how we can read the zip files. So the get info method, this method can be used for getting all the details of the file objects. Okay. Now let's see how we can create a zip file, a new zip file basically. For creating in the new zip file, we have to first define. We have to first define how to how to create the new archive. We have to first define the archive name. Let's call it new underscore zip. Okay, and we have to open this file in the write mode, because what we'll do, we'll first create a zip object and then we'll append files to that object, and while closing it will create that object. Okay, let's call it new zip. Now we need a file list. Okay, so we have seen that these are the files present, so we will be using these files as a file list. Let's call this file list. Move this to a list object. So this will be the name of our new zip, and these are the files that will be zipped into this file. Okay, do that. New zip dot write. Write, what write does, write is basically it will basically add all these files to the zip. For files in file list, new zip dot write files. Okay, when we have opened the file with a with command, it will automatically close. Okay, we don't need to specifically close the file. So again, let's do the list dir, see if we have a new file or not, and run this. Okay, let's also append path to this so that the value is created at a specific place. Okay, so basically path is required for everything. Let's run this. You can see we have a new zip.zip file. So we have created a new zip. Okay, using the new zip.zip. So this is the normal operations with the file archives. Please do like and subscribe my channel. Thank you for watching this. Hello guys, welcome to my channel. So this is the Python file handling tutorial number 5, and if you have not seen previous tutorials for file handling, please go ahead and watch them. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe my channel. So in this tutorial I will be telling you how to deal with CSV files in Python. So as you know, CSV files are most commonly used for bulk operations in programming, whether it is Java, whether it is C, or whether it is Python. So you must know how you should deal with the CSV files. So for opening CSV file, for dealing with the CSV files, we have a module CSV, have a CSV module in Python that will be used for dealing with the CSV files. Okay, so let's try to open a CSV file and open this file in a read mode. Reader. Let's have that. So this is the common structure for managing a CSV file, and this method has another argument, which is the delimiter. You can give the delimiter if you want to specify. Now let's try to see what is the type of this object reader and what is inside the reader before we move on to see the content. Let's run that. So as you can see, the type of this reader is a csv.reader object, which is very implicit. Let's call this csv reader to prevent it from conflicting with the keyword. Okay, now we have a reader object that has the contents of the file. Let's try to read the file. Okay, so since it's an iterator, so it returns an iterator, we have to iterate it or using the loop. So in this, you can see the data is printed. So all rows are returned as a list when you use a for loop. Okay. So this is the simple mechanism to read the CSV file. This is very common and very useful across all Python programs. Okay. Now since we have seen the reading, so you can use if your CSV file is separated by some other delimiter, you can pass that delimiter here. Okay, whatever delimiter you pass, it will be treated as it is. Also, if you don't want to pass this argument, the default is the column will be the default for CSV. The CSV name is comma separated file, so the default will be the comma. Okay, now let's see how to write the CSV file. So we have read the CSV file. Now let's see how we can write the CSV file. So for writing the CSV file, we have to open again. Since it's a file object, we have to open it again in write mode, right? So let me copy that. Let's give it a new name, test.csv, and open it in write mode. CSV reader, CSV dot reader, CSV file. Okay, sorry, not the reader. Now we are trying to write it, so we have to use the CSV writer. And again, like the previous method of reader, if you do not pass anything, the default comma separation will be treated as a comma. But if you want to give something, you can give the delimiter by giving pipe this time. Okay, we have a csv reader object ready. Let's call it csv writer for clarity. CSV writer is equals to, now what we are trying to do, we are trying to write the file. So what we will do, we are going to try to write this file. Call the write row function. So what we'll pass in the write row, we will be passing a list again, like as you have seen. We the response we got was a list. So let's pass the list name state. Okay, let's add one more row here. Shall by, and after we have written the file, we need to read the file, right? So let's copy this for reading. But we need to see what are the contents of the file and just run it. Okay, so Writer is not treating the delimiter. Okay, let's try to run that. You can see, so we have given the name state Herschel and y. So we have read the file. So this is how you simply write the CSV file. Okay, so there will be if you write a dot. Okay, so we have written the file. We have seen that, but now one problem. Suppose you want to write it with a header, right? So in this structure we have not used any header. So what we'll do, let's suppose that you have a, this is your header file. Yes, let's call this as header. These are the column names. Okay, and what will you do, instead of using the writer, we will be using the Dictwriter. So what Dictwriter will do, Dictwriter will have will convert the data to a dictionary format, and then it will use that as a, it will use them as a column. Okay, so for writing the header, we have to use csvwriter dot write header. Okay, when we will go to read the rows, it will print them as a read. And this, oops, sorry, not the. Since we are using dict, let's use them as a dict. If you see, since it was a Dictwriter, I have to pass the dictionary. When I have passed the dictionary, this is how the output is. So this is how you can write to a CSV. Let's move to the next segment, which is about how to deal with the pandas when you are handling the CSV files. Okay, so for using the pandas, first you have to install that. If you do not have it, you can use pip or brew. Okay, for installing the pandas, and then again you have to import it. Import pandas. How will you read using the pandas? So let's call that as df data frame and as dot read CSV. As you can see, it has features for reading CSV as well as for Excel. Okay, here that's file name. Okay, and then simply print the df. This is for reading. See, the file is printed along with the keys. If you don't want to have the keys with you, you can just remove that. Okay, so this is basically the index. So if you don't want the index, let's keep index as index all. Let's keep them as name, not this name, but this name. Okay, so the index, it does not have the index. Sorry, CSV file. This is all about reading the file from the pandas. Okay, if you have for writing also, you can, if you for writing also, if you have the data, then you can simply use df dot to csv. Okay, in the other to csv, you give the file path here, file name, file path along with the file name. It will convert it to the csv. Okay guys, thank you for watching this video. Please do like and subscribe my channel.